Meanwhile, the Benue State Caucus of the National Assembly has strongly condemned Governor Essiet's recent remarks that some Abuja-based politicians from the state are sponsoring the series of attacks on their own people. The caucus described the governor's allegations as baseless and irresponsible, noting that they have been actively working to address the security challenges in the state. The members of the Benue National Assembly Legislative Aids Forum have also dismissed Essiet's allegation, calling on him to desist from making reckless and unsubstantiated statements to cover up his glaring failure to protect and secure the lives of the people.
Listen to what the governor said on national television. You will pity Benue State, because no responsible governor can claim on national television without evidence that his own people are killing his own people, when it is obvious to the world that foreign elements, which he himself acknowledged, are responsible for the killings of Benue people in recent times, even on television.
The forum wishes to categorically and emphatically condemn these unfounded allegations leveled against their principals. These claims lack evidence, are politically motivated, and are designed to distract the good people of Benue State from the governor's administration failures and governance challenges. It is sad to note that the governor, whose primary and constitutional responsibility is to protect lives and properties of Benue's indigents, has clearly demonstrated incapacity to live up to this critical responsibility and has chosen to cover up his glaring failures by a blame game.
Abiodun Essiet, who is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central, joins us in the studio for more discussions on the disturbing development. Glad to have you join us, Abiodun.
Thank you.
Before we get into the allegations, both from the governor's side and the National Assembly members, let's start with the incident, sorry incident as it were, of 107 people, again, killed senselessly. What do you make of that incident?
Yeah, first let me start by sending my condolences to the families of the deceased people and also the communities and also the state generally, Benue State, for this attack, and also to let them know that we're following the situation and also we're ready to document the experiences and also hear from them actually what happened, because, you know, insecurity or violence is not about, you know, absence of conflict, but, you know, justice also has to be served. We're expecting that, you know, in 24 hours, in a week's time, the perpetrators of this act should be arrested and, you know, held accountable. That would, you know, close the gap, you know, in this kind of suffering. You know, it's something that's been going on across the North Central region, and we are really deeply saddened that this is still going on, despite so many interventions from different levels of government in addressing this concern. So I'm really deeply saddened about it.
All right. Based on, of course, your portfolio, what is on ground, that is, from your engagements, what are the people saying?
Okay, thank you so much. So my role is to get the impulses from the community and also feed those impulses about whatever is happening in the community to Mr. President and members of the Federal Executive Council, and we've been doing that. So our office just concluded a North Central Peace Summit that was held about 2 weeks ago, where we invited the CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, to also address members of the stakeholders about the insecurity happenings in the North Central region, what are the root causes, and also to get feedback. So the summit was in two folds: to launch the Presidential Committee Engagement Peace Initiative across the North Central region, and also to get feedback from members of stakeholders across the North Central region on issues affecting insecurity in their region. For that summit, we received over 20 memos policy papers on issues about insecurity in North Central region, which they wanted me to submit to Mr. President or summarize to Mr. President, which are the deep concerns of the people in the North Central region about the insecurity in the state. And, you know, it cuts across things about land grabbing, about cow roasting, about ownership, a whole lot of things, about lack of trust in security agencies, and which we are currently documenting and sharing with Mr. President by next week on the impulses from the members of the community about the insecurity happening in their state. So we've been gathering all these feedbacks and all these issues, and we are already channeling this feedback to Mr. President and members of the security chiefs so that they know exactly what is going on in the North Central region. And for the Peace Summit, we launched this Presidential Committee Peace Initiative where we have a network of stakeholders coming together to sit down and dialogue, deliberative dialogue, share concerns, be open to one another, share concerns and needs with members of stakeholders and also with my office supervising that. So this is the first time you are having members of the community sitting down discussing issues, and you have a presidential figure amongst them listening and documenting this feedback to Mr. President so that he understands the impulses. So it's not that he doesn't have military chiefs or security chiefs to give him those feedback, but he's getting it directly as well from members of security, from members of the community where these issues are being perpetrated, because it's different. What you hear from the people might be different from what some other security agency might interpret. Their concerns may be different, their worries may be different, and this also falls in line with what we're doing in the Presidential Committee Engagement Team. We are launching the National Committee Engagement Framework, where we are using the bottom-up approach to governance. It's not about the top-down approach to governance and say, okay, the people who are concerned and affected by that issue should be brought to the table where the issues are being discussed. It's not about you bringing your expertise and say, this is how this insecurity in North Central should be. But when you are discussing the issues about insecurity in North Central, all the stakeholders, the chiefs, the tribal leaders should be at the forefront of the discussion, not behind that. So we are developing this framework so that we can channel or guide the federal government on how to engage people at different levels of government intervention.
The federal government and of course the security agencies, because your idea of what you think the people want
might
may
be different.
totally differ from what the people who are on ground are experiencing.
Absolutely.
That's a good way to go about it. What is government not doing right? What should they be doing that they are not doing, especially about proliferation of small arms and what you talked about earlier on, prosecuting those responsible for perpetrating these mayhem?
So, in engaging the community that have been affected by this insecurity, one of the major concerns they've shared with me is about lack of justice. People have attacked their communities and nobody has been held responsible. So it's a call to action for all the security agencies to help our community to recover from this loss by arresting people that are perpetrating this violence across the different regions. So that's one thing that we're hoping that the different security agencies can help build the trust in government by arresting these people. And but when you don't arrest, you leave their wounds open, and they'll say, oh, with my the people that killed my father or my mother or my children are still going there doing the same thing. But when justice is being served, then peace is achievable. So what we're hoping and what I'm appealing to security agencies is for them to really make sure that people who are perpetrating this violence are arrested. And one of the major things I think for North Central region that we may need to invest more is a non-kinetic means of ending this violence. I think from the whole narrative of how the violence in the North Central has been, I think the best approach is the non-kinetic. It's about sitting down. You hear some people saying that, oh, they feel like a second-class citizen in the community, and some other people are saying, no, when did I welcome you to the community? When did I say this was your community? So, when you don't sit people down to share concern, you don't know what is in the mind of another person. And in North Central, you've seen reprisal attack coming up. Now you see a community being attacked. Before you know it, another community is being attacked because you think, oh, this is the person that actually attacked my community without having facts and figures. And you're leaving laws into their hands. And you have proliferation of arms. Everybody has arms. which shouldn't be. When this happened, then people will be like, okay, I can't just sit down on my own. So when the other person have and they are not arresting them, and I have to go and also get harms for myself. So that is also going on. Sitting down together, non-kinetic means. So, with our North Central Peace Summit, inviting the Chief of Defense Staff, and we're so happy and proud that the Chief of Defense Staff attended the summit, because it shows that it's also committed to the non-kinetic means, because it believes the non-kinetic means is actually part of what we address it. And now, thanks to Mr. President, we have the local government autonomy. Because governance at the local level needs to be felt, because it's not just only about the federal level, but the governance system within the local and the state level needs to be enhanced, so that people know that their concerns and needs are being, addressed. So it's not just about waiting for the federal government to do some things, but enhancing the governance system at the local level and also at the state level will help ending such violence, because all this violence happens within the community, and the lowest level of governance in those communities are the local government. Well, and if they're not empowered financially to address this financially and capacity wise to know how to manage it, then there's a vacuum, huge vacuum.
This is not your forte, but I mean, there's been question ongoing whether the autonomy, whether the local governments really have this autonomy, because like you just said, it's very important. But before I let you go, we discussed a little bit about the differences in these issues. One area, the North Central and the Northeast, you want to talk about that, and let me add to that just briefly too. In communicating these ideas to the government, what's their acceptance level? What's their response level? Do they listen? Do they take into cognizance what you have found during your engagements?
Absolutely. So I must really thank the security agency, because they have been our best allies in the committee engagement, presidential committee engagement, because they take reports from committee engagement office very serious. And this has also built the trust of the community. For instance, a member, so we have a citizen assembly. So the presidential committee engagement team launched what we call citizen assembly, just like where you have a national assembly, where you have representatives of different communities within the North Central region coming together to discuss and report directly to my office what exactly is going on. They don't just report, they report and also state the phone number of their chiefs, the name, the phone number of their stakeholders, so that you can follow up back and verify what they've actually reported. So this has helped to strengthen trust level. It has helped in building community feedback with the presidency and members of Federal Executive Council. And in return, when those issues are addressed, the community people trust the government and say, okay, we believe the community engagement office will address this issue. There are several times, for instance, the Minister of Works actually asked us to give them feedback from the federal roads in our region, which we submitted. We asked the citizens what is the status of the federal road, and we actually submitted that, to the Minister of Works, and he prioritized those things and presented to Federal Executive Council for approval. One of it is the Sham Dam Bridge, a broken dam some years ago, and now the President has given approval for that bridge to be constructed. And in return, you see that citizens end up trusting us. So we've had beautiful relationship with the Minister for Defense and all the security chiefs on issues that are affecting our community. And like I said, what is happening in the North Central region is quite different from what is happening in the Northeast region. In the Northeast, you have, insurgencies, and you have the terrorists, the Boko Haram and all that. But North Central region, some of the root causes are things that have been with us. I've summarized the white paper report on Plateau State since 2004 till date. And it's still the same thing. The root causes of what is causing the violence are still the same thing, from the land grabbing. No, you are taking over my land. And why you see this attack, coming up frequently is because it is farming season. People want to go back to farm, and other people are hitting their crops and saying, we also want to graze. It's about also identifying what are the laws in this land. How do we hold people accountable to respect the laws on the land? What is acceptable and what is not acceptable.
All right, Abiodun Essiet.
Thank you.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central. Thank you for your time. But that speaks to leadership. 2004, this is 2025. What has leadership been doing over the years to address this? So we hope this time around they will get it right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being on Newsnight.